shall we play a game?
We got Star Wars Unlimited. We got classic Star Wars games. We got old school D&D, independent RPGs, mini painting, Warhammer, of course, tons of other games. But first, we're gonna need some coffee here on Board Barista Productions.
Yeah.
We have a rainstorm coming in.
Yeah, we got one just leaving New Orleans. I actually got out of work an hour early today because they're like, hey, there might be some road flooding, so everybody go home, be safe.
I like that idea because we had 3 microstorms come through Belgrade, Maine, and it's 3 microstorms. I'm sorry, 3 micro tornadoes. It ripped trees up. It destroyed camps. Belgrade Lakes is known for camps and everything. It was 4 years ago. It sliced right through. It cut paths through, made roads impassable. It took me over an hour and a half to figure out how to get home because every route I normally take that took me 45 minutes was impassable. I had to go into Augusta, go through Greenfield to go into Chesterville. I had to go way the heck around.
Oh, yeah, you can't get that from here, bud.
Yeah. That day, they say, Maine, we don't have this type of weather. Yes, we've had hurricanes. We've had a hurricane a long time ago, rip trees straight up. We have tornadoes. We do have earthquakes. They just don't send buildings crashing to the ground. They send chairs falling over, plates crashing to the floor. But they don't.
When me and Laura were driving down to see you guys, actually to see Josh, because that was the time when you guys we were coming down, but you guys had broken up before we were leaving. It was like, okay, we drove through a tornado on the highway. The funnel cut passed across in front of us a couple miles down the road, and I just kept going. I'm like, we're out of here.
Yeah.
So.
No, we get snow and we get ice storms. So yeah.
You get all the weather.
Yeah,
but this is not a show about weather. This is Retro Reviews review show where we go through my copious amounts of RPG books and other tabletop gaming paraphernalia one at a time, and we have these nice little ramble fest. With me is Tanya, and tonight we are doing the Star Wars Miniatures Battle Companion book. Bear with me for just a second because I didn't get the whole office all set up. Like we were saying, there's storms down here in New Orleans, and I needed to go pick up the wife so she would safely get home from work along with our little one. So I'm just looking to see where we are. On my notes. So, unlike a lot of the rest of the Star Wars RPG books, this was not a B. Dalton bookseller in the Prescott Hill Mall purchase. This was actually an Easter gift from my parents. Because my birthday is so close to Christmas, it became a kind of thing. I always get something small, gift around Easter time. Plus, as a kid, I was allergic to almost every single candy. So it was baseball cards, comic books, and Star Wars books usually end up being something that would show up for me around Easter time. So what is this book all about? Actually, this book came in a box set. I no longer have the original box set, and the minis that came with this, I got 2 Imperial speeder bikes and 1 Rebel snow speeder. I lost one of the biker pilots for the speeder bikes, and I got the other parts for it, but I've got everything I need for the minis for the snow speeder. I can put those all together, and now that I know how to build minis and stuff like that now, I'm planning on actually putting those together to have like for a collection of Star Wars minis. But so this is the upgraded new rules and gameplay scenarios for the miniature game made by Weston Games, because you got the minis to play for the role-playing game to have on the table. You might as well have like a whole, I got an Imperial army, you've got a Rebel army, or we got like independent smugglers, and we just have our big spaceship ground battles on the tabletop. So they created the rules for that. It's the miniatures battle game. So you do and if you're doing like a large scale battle, like want to reenact the Battle of Hoth or the Battle of Endor, and you're doing it without the ships, you can use the miniatures to do like the ground battles. So basically the book focuses mainly on adding vehicles to the miniatures game. Also has tables for converting miniatures from the RPG. So you take the RPG stats, plug it into the conversion tables in here, and you get the stats for playing the miniatures game, which a lot of role-playing games and end up with a miniatures game were like, well, we can't put the rules out fast enough for the player, so let's just put the conversion stuff. So anything new comes out, you can just port it right into the game. Then they realized, wait, we can make more money just making all the stats and stuff, making players have to buy those. So nowadays you don't really see that a whole lot. You did see it with the D&D 3rd edition miniatures book, but that was also so you could take your D&D character and give it miniature stats and play it as your character in a miniatures battle. We also cover rules of the flight rules, upgrades, taking prisoners, which is kind of cool as an idea, because like in Warhammer 40K and a lot of other miniatures games, there's not really any rules for like, I'm going to capture your forces and now you have to get them back. It's usually just like clear theirs off the board, kill everything that moves is kind of the general thing for miniatures games nowadays. There's also for people who really like to get into the nitty gritty with their miniature painting, there's guidelines for squad markings and insignias for the rebels, Imperial forces, pirate gangs, and other indie groups in the Star Wars universe. Section on campaigns gives a simple how to link games narratively. For a game campaign, which the rebel forces are trying to destroy an Imperial base. Depending on how each of the games go, players can get new troops or reinforcements. Classic campaign strategy for miniature games is, instead of just having like one battle, you kind of like, okay, if we'll play this out and we'll like Warhammer 40K had their whole crusade rules where if your unit gets injured, they can have like a penalty that happens to them for the next game. Or if they survive and they rank up and have experience points, you can give them extra bonuses. I really like playing campaign mode for Warhammer 40K. When I first moved down here, I used to go every like Sunday to go play in the campaign at the local shop. It's cool if you can have a player base to do it all the time. But usually a lot of miniatures games just end up being like, I'll just bring my army, you bring your army, we're playing one game, winner takes all the glory. And if you do have a large collection of minis and your players have gotten to a point where it's like, especially in 2nd edition D&D, like part of that was you started getting followers and hirelings and you had like all these forces of troops, because like earlier editions of D&D, everybody was so damn squishy. It wasn't like buckets of hit points and lots of damage that you could deal like in 5th edition D&D, where it's just like we saw the viewers didn't see, but like my crazy South Boston teddy bear in our last D&D game. Yeah, I straight up murdered like both of the things we were fighting in like 2 rounds of combat. Like, yeah. But in like, 2nd, 1st edition, old school D&D, it was very much like usually the players could get murdered that fast, and you would have like So we'll just hire a bunch of people. We'll have them fight with us and soak up a bunch of the damage. And if you got to certain levels, you'd be like, well, I've got like 200 troops that I have at my command. The DM would be like, okay, I'll bring 1,000 minis. You bring, and everybody else has got their army of troops, and we'll play a whole big scale battle thing. When you're like in the high teens, early 20s of D&D levels, that was kind of like what progressed when your character's like, I'm not an adventurer anymore. I'm an 18th level wizard with a tower and forces. If I'm going to go to fight something, it's going to be I'm leading an army of battle mages. And so having miniatures rules to do when your characters get up to those epic levels is something I would recommend players to have, because at those high levels, it's kind of boring to just be like, I blast it with fireball and I do this. And you get these repetitive, you're fighting one monster every time. Oh, Jake, how you doing?
He's doing better now that the cone's off.
Nice. But yeah, so I really enjoyed getting my hands up. I really enjoy having these rules. I want to get the core rule booklet that covers the actual like whole minis game. So I have all the rules to do at a certain point. So that is all I really have to say. Any thoughts, comments, questions, anything that you had?
Trying to play with minis, having the proper minis would be better than playing with the Lego minis that they're coming out with, because the board size does not fit the Lego size.
Yeah.
But having stats with the minis would be so much better than making up BS along the way.
That's right, because you guys are using Lego minifigs for
We're trying to. I wanted to collect them all, so that's why we have them. Because it was just like, okay, it's $5 per little Lego mini, but there's 12 of them. Can we really like justify buying the minis? Yes, we can. I didn't get them all. I got repeats, and they come with men or women heads, angry or sad or happy faces. So it's multi-character of the same thing.
Yeah. So I go because I play Warhammer 40K, so I have my armies and collections of Warhammer 40K minis. But Warhammer 40K minis are really not the cheapest stuff in the world. But there are some companies out there that do have cheap mini options. Reaper minis, which this is like one of their Dark Lord bad guy with a big axe. Reaper minis usually end up being like about $3 a piece, and you can custom. And some of the ones like your standard skeletons, zombies, and stuff like that, they'll come in like 3 or 5 packs, and it'll be like about like $1.50 a piece per mini. So you'll get them on a little bit on the cheaper. Plus, if you order, like, I do not mean this to be an ad for Reaper, but Reaper is one of my favorite companies to buy minis from. The plastic, it's soft plastic, so it's not as durable as like the Warhammer 40K stuff. But if something falls on them or they get knocked around, they're soft. They're not going to break as easily. They're unpainted, so you can just spend some time painting. But I've got some painting videos here on the channel, and I plan on doing more painting videos on the channel when I have more time to do more painting videos. But no, Reaper I would recommend. A lot of the IP specific ones, like the Star Wars ones, to get those minis. Fantasy Flight Games does have it's the only one of the Star Wars miniature games that's currently still being supported by the company at their parent company, Asmodee. Still coming out with, but you can get in scale to D&D scale Star Wars minis. If you go on a secondhand market, you can get used minis from the old Star Wars miniature game that Wizards of the Coast did, which actually has a bunch of the extended universe. Like we're talking like Mara Jade, Grand Admiral Thrawn has all of those minis. And West End Games, you can still find a bunch of their pewter minis on the secondary market as well. Granted, those ones are going to run you like $10-20 for a pack of 5. So wherever your budget is, you can usually find some minis. You can find some companies such as War Games Atlantic. They have like gaming system agnostic, so it kind of looks like a Stormtrooper, but it doesn't look like a Stormtrooper kind of minis that you can get like a box of those. And I think they come in like there's like 24 or 30 minis in the box. So, and you're buying the box for like $28. You're paying like less than $1 per mini at that point. So there's ways to get stuff. If you're using the Lego stuff, it ends up being the whole fact of like, yeah, the scale is off because a 4x4 Lego brick is not really the scale of a miniature base. A miniature base is more of a 3x3 square, and they don't make those. So you can kind of like futz around and make like with some flat pieces, make a 3x3, and then use some of the center pin one. There's ways to make like a Lego size base to put the minifigures on, but if you're just going to do it, I would say just buy some of the Lego plates, the colored ones, like green and blue and stuff like that, and like tape like even like duct tape the back sides of them, the flat side, and then just basically move the minis around on the Lego board.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do that way, like stay in scale, you're going to probably end up spending a lot of time like building a physical dungeon when you do it like that. But
there's building, honestly. I have all week free, so I got time to build.
There's different stuff you can do to make it work. Because basically it boils down to it's like what's in your budget and what do you got on hand? Because that is like 90% of like DM prep work when it comes to like getting the table ready is like, what do I have time to do? What do I have on hand? And how much money do I actually want to put into this? Because I've got my collection of minis and I just love painting these things. So I love collecting them. And basically the collection that I have is all of the D&D monsters that I plan on using like all the time. Like if there's a signature monster I need, then chances are that's a monster I like and it's one that I'm going to buy all the time. You don't have to go out and basically be like, wait, here's my monster manual. Here's everything I need to have. It's like, no. All you really need to have is sit there and be like, what's my normal? I'm going to run these monsters all the freaking time. Like anytime that this is my own personal monster event list. Which ones do I reach to all the time? So I've got a squad of like 12 kobolds. I got a bunch of orcs. I got a bunch of goblins. I've got a few undead, skeletons, zombies, and mummies. Your classic 3. And then I've got like a couple one-offs, like a couple dragons I thought were cool, and some random other minis I just found. I'm like, okay, these look cool, and I'm gonna play these as these. And then I bought, I did splurge, and when my last time as being like a DM before I moved down here to Louisiana, I bought. I had everybody describe their characters like based on race and class and stuff like that, and I actually went to Reaper and bought all of their minis and then painted them up and surprised them with them, and set those all out. And I had these robots that were going to be like the big bad for the thing, so I got a bunch of those. And then I was like, okay, we're going to be in the middle of the desert, so I got some Arabian themed, desert themed minis. So I had all the minis for that campaign all set up.
Would that be the bar that Josh has on the mantle?
The bar that Josh has on the mantle, I built that for Josh. That was not from that campaign, but it's the bar that we used so often that keeps popping up in all of our D&D games. Bob's Bar. Just built a little small, like 5x5. It was a baseball cube for putting like a commemorative baseball in. I just turned that into the bar for him as a gift. Just to be like, put a bunch of stuff on it on the bar to represent all the cool stuff that we've collected throughout our adventuring years, and it's just like something for him to sit there and be like, "Ooh, that's cool, it's awesome." I think I actually got a video on the channel about like showing off that before I buried the video in like, I'm going to release this a long time down the road because that way Josh doesn't see the video before I give him the gift. So, yeah, that's there's a company called Hearst Arts. They do molds that you can basically pour dental plaster into, because dental plaster is finer than plaster of Paris.
Okay.
And it will create like bar stools and kegs and wine glasses and crystal balls and bookshelves. And then you can also get like tables and stuff for building dungeons. And there's stuff for different types of boards. Like I can basically craft like with the molds I've got, I can basically craft like just about any bar I want. I just need to pick up a few more because I need to get like some tiles ones and some more of the rocks to build the walls with, so it actually looks like a stone wall. I have a list, but I've just been like, I don't have the cash to spend on that right now because like all my gaming budget has been going into the Star Wars Unlimited packs I've been cracking daily here on the channel. And I'm like, I really need to get monetized so I can like just have more of a gaming budget to get the stuff that I want. And then I need to have like if I had the time that you had, I would basically be like cranking out videos every day of like, okay, we're gonna build this. But I got a 40-hour a week job, so right now we're just talking nerd with Tanya once a week. I'm doing daily crack-a-packs, and then we got like the D&D campaigns coming on Sunday. That's all we have. I have time to stay on top of for content for the channel right now. But yeah, no, if I would recommend, if you were interested to get into the mini side, to go to reaperminis.com. They're based out of Texas. They're locally based. You're not going to be paying any tariffs. Everything they have is being built here in the United States, made by Americans for Americans. Also, anybody out there who's a teacher, they actually have like get in touch with them about supplies for your gaming club. They've got like a teacher discount that you can get. And also, I would recommend buying their paints before I would recommend buying like a few of the others that are on the market, because their paint is actually pretty decent. And it comes in nice little dropper bottles, so you can just drop a little bit onto your paint palette and not have to like try to like scoop it out and lorp it on and lose a bunch of extra paint. So I got some tips. What I would say is, if you wanted to pick up some minis, and then we'll do some sit and chats and I'll talk you through like mini stuff if you want. But yeah, no, that's all we got for the miniature battle companion this week. I think it dove off into more of a miniatures topic, but hey, that's what we're here for, is the Ramble Fest. So that's all I got. Peace.
Peace.
Hey everybody, thanks for staying till the end of the episode. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook at Board Barista Productions. And if you want to support us, Patreon link at the bottom.